Hello, everybody out there in Flosstube land. Craft and Bev here, also known as Beverly. I know I have not done anything since May 1st. A lot has happened. And as you can see, I am on oxygen. I tried to do this at a time when I wasn't going to be having to wear this. But it's like every time I thought about not wearing this and talking, kind of wore me out. So I thought, okay, wear your oxygen. Hopefully next week you won't have to wear it. So keep our fingers crossed and say a small prayer. Let me explain what's going on. You know the old adage, if you didn't have bad luck, you wouldn't have any luck at all? Well, that's the way I feel like my life has been since April 3rd. April 3rd, as I think I told you, my toilet turned into a water fountain, flooded my whole apartment, made it rain downstairs in my neighbor's apartment. So I ended up spending 2.5 weeks in a hotel with my girls. You can see one of them right there. That's Penelope, who's sticking her head up just a little bit, if you can see her. Anyway, I come home 2.5 weeks later, and 2 or 3 days later, and I come home and my house is full of boxes. In fact, you can still see most of the boxes are still in my craft room. Haven't been able to get them unpacked yet. But anyway, 2 or 3 days after I came home, my hot water tank was leaking. And so I went without hot water for 4 days. So needless to say, I was boiling water to clean up so I could go to the stitching retreat, because I was not going to miss that stitching retreat. So I went to that, met some fantastic people. It was the Boise Mini Stitching Retreat here in Boise. Melanie Smith, you can see her, it's Melanie Smith, Yarns and Threads, or Threads and Yarns, something like that. I'm sorry, Melanie, I can't remember. I meant to write it down. Anyway, she organized it. Met some fantastic people there. So anyway, got to go to the retreat, got my hot water back, and then the next weekend, I think was Easter. Yeah, it was Easter, I think. I'm not sure of the dates. All I know is, no, Easter was before the retreat. Yeah, Easter was before the retreat. Anyway, I was supposed to make dinner the Saturday before Easter. God, this is the most irritating thing. And I was going to do it down at my daughter's house because I couldn't do it here. I had just moved back into my apartment. My oldest daughter picked me up, and we went to the store to go so I could buy what I needed to make dinner. Decided to do a baked chicken and stuffing, sweet carrots, and and corn. And when at her house, I could barely get the chicken seasoned up and everything to get into the oven. I was so tired and exhausted, I could barely do it. But we got the chicken in. I got the chicken into the oven, but my youngest daughter ended up having to fix the rest of the dinner. I just couldn't do it. That's how exhausted I was. And it was kind of odd because, I mean, I suffer from chronic fatigue syndrome because of my blood disease. But I was more exhausted than I normally am. And it seemed like it kept getting worse, and I was having a hard time with my cough. And I started feeling like every time I coughed, it felt like somebody was trying to wrap a belt around my chest and tighten it up. And as the course kept going on and on, by May 1st, when I was doing my Flosstube, I had a hard time. I was struggling. Well, May 7th, which was a Monday, my oldest daughter came, took one look at me, and before I knew it, she was taking me to the emergency room. And I collapsed walking into the emergency room. They got me into a wheelchair, put some air on me, got me into the ER and everything. Well, let's just make a long story short. A lot happened. Turns out I had over 20 blood clots in each of my lungs, plus blood clots in my legs, and they diagnosed me with pulmonary embolism. The doctor came in before they were taking me upstairs to ICU. He came in, he says, and I was complaining because they were saying they were going to admit me into the hospital. And I kept saying, no, I want to go home. And he comes in, he says, Miss Smith, he said, if your daughter hadn't brought you in today, he says, they would have been making plans for your funeral for Mother's Day. He says, you need to stay here in the hospital. And I'm just like, am I that sick? And he goes, yes. He says, we're still worried that you may not make it. He says, you've got a lot of blood clots, and we're worried that one of them are going to break loose and go straight to your lungs. Oh, craps. Okay. Yeah, sure, I'll stay. You know, that scared me. I was got to come home on the 10th, the Friday before Mother's Day, against physical therapy's orders. The doctor said I could go home. Physical therapy wanted me to go to rehab. They said I needed to learn to walk again and how to get better. And I'm just like, no, I have not been home and feeling good since April 3rd. I want to be home. And I knew if I got home, I'd do better. And I have physical therapy that comes twice a week. And I promised them I'd walk every day at least 3 or 4 times a day. And they said, no, make it 6. Make it a little short walk every day 6 times. Fine, I'll do 6 walks, which I do. I take 6 little walks every day. I go out that door and I go down to the end of the hall and back. And now I'm up to where I'm doing it twice. When my physical therapist comes, he has me take the walk down the long hallway, which is about 80 feet, 80 to 100 feet. Yeah, it's about 100 feet. Yeah, he has me take the long walk down there and back, and then up to the short hallway, and then to my door. Granted, I take a lot of stops to get my breath back, but I'm getting there. Now, I used to walk that hall 6 times. I mean, up and down, 6 times every day. And I can't even do one without problems. So it's going to take time. It will take time. The doctor told me when I went back to the doctors the Tuesday after I got discharged, she said, you're looking at least 3 to 4 months of recovery. She says, don't expect to recover from this right away. And I'm just kind of like, you're joking. And she said, no. She says, it's going to take your body a long time to heal. So, needless to say, oxygen, walking, taking it easy, not doing half of what I wanted to do. So, now when I was in the hospital, when I did my first video here for Flosstube, I started working on my snowman, because if you remember, I wanted to do 2 of the snowman friends, and then plus one of the 12 days of Christmas for May, since I couldn't find any of my Stitch Maynia stuff that's in there. And let's see, what you're looking at is there's 7 boxes down, 3 across, 21, 42. So there's 42 of those boxes, and they're not full. They only packed them like, here's the box, and the stuff is only packed up to here. And I'm just like, you people really need to learn to pack. But anyway, I was doing pretty good. I mean, you know, I thought it would, you know, I was trying to get as much done. By the time I went to the hospital, I hadn't gotten as much done as I thought I did. And I'll tell you this now. Do you know those sewing needles are really heavy? They're heavy. Because I could barely do 10 stitches before I was exhausted. But anyway, as of today, this is how much I've gotten done on the first snow fritz. I still have to fill in all the white here and down here and do their beaks and the white in them. And then there's, whoops, don't go away. I still have snow flurries to do all around there. So Um, I'll probably have this done within the next 4 or 5 days. I just can't seem to stitch as long as I used to. I used to be able to get up in the morning. I get up. And that's the other thing. My cat, my one cat, not her, That's Penelope. I have a cat that's 3/4 Siamese. Um, she used to wake me up every morning at 5:30. She doesn't wake me up anymore. She's sleeping with me. She sleeps right there by me, but she doesn't wake me up at 5:30 anymore. She just sleeps. My daughter says she knows that I'm not feeling good, that I'm sick, and she doesn't want to disturb me. And I'm just like, sure. But she could be right, They still hang around me heavily. Anyway, one of the other things I did in the hospital is I got very restless and bored and everything. So anyway, I'm doing I'm trying to do these certain cross stitch ornaments. If you have ever heard of the no-sew quilted ornaments, well, these are something like them. They're this. Now, the centers on these are all cross-stitched. They're cross-stitched designs. And then the rest of the design is folded fabric to do the design and everything. Whoops. It's folded fabric to do the designs. Now, out of these 28 designs, there's 28. 5 of them I'm not doing because they're designs that say like baby's first Christmas. There's one that's the alphabet. I don't care to do that. There's one that's like apple for the teacher. They have one design that you're supposed to do for, you do the design, one design for the front and the other design for the back, which is the year. And I'm doing 2 of each of the designs, so no matter how it turns, it looks good. Oh, there's one that's like a house that says home, and I don't care for it. And there was one other I didn't like. Anyway, so like I said, I'm trying to do 30 of them. Now these, I get this size of, it's 14 count, and I'm able to get 10 ornament, because if you look here, there's 2 for each design, one side, front and back. So I'm able to, I get 10 on here. So here's the first 10 I did. And then here is I said 10. I think, I forget. I can't think. God, this tells you, this is bad. It's bad. Anyway, and then here's the second sheet I'm doing. And I still have a third sheet that I'm going to do. So, but I did these 2 while I was in the hospital. Just, I wanted to do something different other than the snowman. Was it that? No, I take it back. I did these 2. I was doing these 2 here. Yeah, I was doing these 2. So I did those. See, now I want to get all these done by November 1st because I'm going to be spending the month of November final finishing these, getting them fully finished. So all my snowmen, my 12 days of Christmas, these ornaments, they all have to be done by the 1st of November when I'm going to start fully finishing them. And I think I will. I just have to keep working on it. I was supposed to get 2 of the snow friends done and one of the 12 days, but I haven't been able to do it. I haven't had the strength. I'm exhausted. Baby girl, my cat, is demanding attention. The one who usually wakes me up in the morning. But anyway, so that's what's been happening with my Stitch Mania. I'm hoping at least to get the snow fringe done by the end of this month. Anyway, as I said, I came home on Friday, May 10th, and I put it on Instagram that I was finally home. I got to come home, and it was in the evening. And Melanie Smith sends me a message through Instagram that she has something for me that somebody sent to her for me. And I'm just like, okay. And she goes, do you want to have your daughter come bring you by and you can pick it up? Or we can bring it by, because we live really close to each other. And then she says, you know what, we'll just bring it by because I'm already home by this time. Then she says, it's an alt light. What? She goes, yes. And she says, the person who sent it to you is Peggy. This is a woman that I met at this Boise mini stitching retreat, Peggy. And I'm like, you're kidding. So I got downstairs. I was waiting for the people from the medical supply place to bring my oxygen machine. I'm on one of these machines that's constantly doing oxygen. And then I have travel little canisters for when I go out. But anyway, her and her daughter, they drive up and they take out this big old op light. It's the kind that you push the button and the light turns on. It's got a magnifying glass. And I am just like, oh my, because these are $300 at Joann's. And I am just like, oh my gosh. So she brings it up and she sets it down. And I thought, okay, when my daughter gets here in a couple days, I'm going to have her help me situate it so I can start using it. So I tried it out. I had to wait until Tuesday. And sure enough, it works perfectly. I can see up to, I can see 36 count where I can stitch. And I'm just like, I love this. So I don't want to start anything right now with the way I am because of my health. I'm afraid I would make more mistakes and I don't want to screw anything up that tiny. So hopefully sometime next month, we got a kit that it was designed specifically for the retreat. I want to do that. That's one of my first things I want to do. So it's like everything's there. I have all the threads I need, everything in a bag waiting for me to do it. And I'm sorry I didn't bring it over here, but hopefully next week's still the 29th. Anyway, so I want to tell Peggy, if you're seeing this, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for your generosity. Thank you again. So, yeah, like I said, I'm waiting until I have a little bit more energy because, like I said, those needles are heavy. I mean, and I'm joking, of course, but it's like, this is the kind of needles I use. They're number, and I know you can't see it that well, number 28. And I kid you not that sometimes I'll be stitching and I keep dropping them because I don't have the energy to keep holding them. And I have this little magnetic thing. So every time I drop, and I'm like, oh, there you are. Thank you, Lord, for letting me find that needle again. So yeah, it's going to take a little time for me to, like I said, the doctor told me I'm looking at 3 to 4 months. Not to rush it, not to expect everything to change overnight, but give it time. So I'm like, okay, I will. So those two things are the only things I've stitched on this week, which is unusual. In fact, since May 1st, which is unusual for me because, like I said, I would get up at 5:30 in the morning and have my breakfast, which is usually 2 cups of chocolate milk, 2% milk, and 2 tablespoons of Nexus chocolate drink mix, shaken, not stirred. Had to be shaken. It has to be shaken. And then I don't eat again until I remember to eat. I have to set my phone to remind me to eat because I don't remember to eat. I get so busy in doing things that I'm doing. I only eat when I'm bored or when somebody says, you need to eat, go eat. So it's one of the reasons why I was losing weight so well, because as long as I kept busy, I was, doing fine. So I'd get up, have my breakfast, start stitching. I'd keep on stitching until my daughter would get here at 9 o'clock. She'd be here until 11:30, and usually while she was here, I'd be crocheting. And that's what I forgot to bring out, my snow lady. I'm going to have to remember to bring her out next week. Then after she leaves, I would go work. I would be doing something either with sewing or general crafts or whatever. At 8 o'clock every night, I have this garland that I'm making out of plastic canvas. So at 8 o'clock every night, no matter what I'm doing, I would make a chain. I need to get back into doing that because I'm still got about 300 links to do, and I am so far behind. So, but in the meantime, I get a lot of stitching done between 5:45 and 9 o'clock. And then I'd be stitching more during the day. And then when I'm done doing the link for the garland, I'm doing another, working on some more cross stitching. So yeah, I used to do a lot of, I'm always kept busy, and I'm doing something else I have not done since I was 5 years old, and that is take a nap. I have found myself sitting in that chair, because this chair here, hopefully soon, by next year sometime, it's going to be a totally different chair, a better recliner. That thing's falling to pieces. But I find myself starting to fall asleep. So, and the doctor says, if you're going to fall asleep, you need to sleep. And I'm just like, I know last time I talked to you, I was telling you that one of the things I wanted to work on was Frederick the Literate. Still in there somewhere. Sandy B. Stitcher is the first person I saw doing it, and I fell in love with him when I saw hers. There's just something about him that I had to do it. He's not a dragon. He's not, fairy creature or mythology, but there's just something about Frederick the Literate. It's a cat sleeping among books that have cat-related titles. And I'm like, I need to do that. It's done on black Ada. I think it's 16 count Ada. I'm hoping that between the light you see right here, this light, and my light, and keeping a white towel in my lap, that I will be able to do it. Because black dark fabrics is kind of hard for me to work on. But I intend to get it done. So, having problems with my laptop's giving me problems, and I'm trying to baby it here. It keeps wanting to switch programs on me. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Quit trying to open up programs. Yeah, see this cat right here? Or right there? That's my baby girl. That's my 3/4 Siamese. That's my alarm, was my alarm clock. So yeah, that's my baby girl. So anyway, yeah, so as I was saying, Sandy B. Stitcher was the one that was doing Frederick the Literate. She's still working on him. And then I don't remember who the other two were that I saw. One has it almost finished. Now, she did hers on white Ada. No, she did hers on white or coffee tea dyed 28 count, doing 2/2. And where it's supposed to be black, she's been doing it on, she's been cross-stitching black there. Sandy, I know, is doing it on a very dark brown, if I remember right. The other lady, she was doing it on black. And all three I'm just like, I want to get them started. I got to find them. I have so much I want to get done, and it's like time. Yeah, that was the other thing. They made me come home with a walker. Now, I walk on a cane, but they made me come home on a walker, thinking, you can't walk. You're having problems walking. Well, geez, they were making me stay in bed, or when they finally let me out of bed, I had to stay in this recliner, and they had alarms on. If I tried to stand up without anybody there, these alarms went off. And the only thing I was allowed to do was to walk from there to the bathroom and back. The only time I was able to walk any other way was with the physical therapist. And I kept thinking, well, no wonder I can't walk the way I'm supposed to. I don't get to walk much. So I came home with the walker. Don't need it. I'll keep it because someday I may need it. Hopefully I don't, but you never know. It will fit in my closet with my wheelchair. Now, my wheelchair I do use when I have to do long, like going to the mall, or when I go to the fair here this year in August, I always go in my wheelchair, make it easier. So I think I'm going to end it here. Baby girl staring at me from the top of her cat tree. And she's like, Mommy, I want to come over and lay down with you, but you're over here and there's no room in that chair to lay next to you. And that one, she's in my spot, so I know what she wants. She wants to come, she likes to lay up here and for me to cuddle her that way, so I think I'm being paged. So I will be back next week. I promise I will keep doing these now regularly. And just to let you know, for future and all that, I do other YouTubes. I do have a regular YouTube that I was vlogging. I want to start that back up, so it will say vlog at the beginning. It will say vlog number. I am also doing a journey on my weight loss. Some people on one of the Facebook groups I'm in for weight loss, they want to know how I'm eating and doing it. So I thought, well, I'll start a YouTube channel or start doing a YouTube, and it will say weight loss journey number. So if you want, and plus I'm going to be, I've been, trying to show organizing that room. So organizing craft room number, look at what the title is, and it will tell you what that YouTube is about, the very first line, word, whatever. So thank you to all of those who have subscribed. I really appreciate that. I hope that I can make this more interesting as time goes by. I know I'm not the most interesting person sometimes, especially right now, but I'm hoping to get better. Thank you to all my returning subscribers. And if this is your first time here, again, I'm hoping to get better and have more to show you. So, until next week, happy floss.